evening. Hi, this is Jan from New York City, and my channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. How's everybody doing tonight? I want to jump right into it. There are so many brand new viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much for being here. I want to share a story that maybe some of the folks that might have heard this a while back, but there are so many newcomers. I thought I'd believing that it really bears repeating. Sometimes, like when things feel a little sad around you, here's a good trick, and it really works. Sometimes when you hear so much negativity, walk away from it, number one, and refresh your mind with replace those negative thoughts with happy thoughts. I want to allude back to a very, very fun, interesting birthday. Ever have a day where everything you touch turns to gold? Not necessarily in the monetary sense or whatever, but it's just like it's just one of those days that it really perfect day. So once in a while, I like to remember this, and I like to share this with my listeners or my viewers. Now, this happened to be my 40th birthday. Now, my 40th birthday took place quite a while ago. All right, but that was all right. To be exact, 23 and a half years ago. Okay. But so, okay, at that time, that day, my husband said, "What would you like to do, for your 40th birthday, special day?" I said, "You know what? Let's take a drive out to neighboring Pennsylvania because there's a really great flea market out there." At that time, I used to love to go to flea markets. They were all over the place, and this one specific place, like a massive, huge flea market. But the weather that day was not so pretty, because my birthday's in the beginning of December in this part of the world. December is not necessarily the kindest weather month. It could be a beautiful day, or it could be a raw, nasty day. Weather-wise, that day was a raw, nasty day. It was gray, it was cold, but I was still determined to go out to that outdoor flea market, which surprised me that they were still running an outdoor flea market at the time. So I said, you know what? Let's do this now because in a couple of weeks, this is not available for a while. All right. So we took a drive out there, had a nice trip going in and everything. So now where we had to park the car was a little bit of ways from the actual flea market. So it was kind of like a little desolate and it was a little bit of a walk. So the weather was very windy. Remember this weather, gray, dismal, December type weather. Okay. So all of a sudden, I see something come flying in the air and I'm like, what is this? And then it lands on my shoes. So I look down. What was it? A $20 bill. I said, well, talk about pennies from heaven. I said, so I'm like looking around me trying to see if this belonged to someone. There was not a person in sight. There wasn't even a car in sight from where we were parked. So this is like really, really like, huh? What? Huh? So my husband said, you know what, Jen? You know what? Maybe somebody's sending this to you from heaven. Just enjoy it and, just forget about it. And let's head over to the flea market. So we proceeded to the flea market. Took a little while, to get over there. And we're looking around. It was fun looking around, but honestly, I was disappointed because I didn't see anything that really resonated to me to purchase. So I saw a couple of cute things, but it still didn't spark me enough to purchase. My husband's like, well, it's your birthday. Why don't you, get yourself something? I says, I have to really like the item for me to purchase it. And he knew that about me because of my frugal nature. I'm not going to buy something just to buy something. That's me. Just saying, just saying. So it was starting to get like, midday and, it's getting like chilly and just not feeling great from the lousy weather. I said, you know what? Why don't we just at least stop off somewhere for lunch and everything? I said, my treat, with the $20 that I found. And my husband was like, no, no, absolutely not. This is your birthday. You're not spending that $20, on the lunch. He says, no, no, let's go out and eat. She said, don't even blink an eyelash on that. So we went to this diner and the food was great. But considering from where I am in New York and to where we were at that diner sold lottery tickets. So I says, gee, this is odd. I never saw any diner where, we are selling lottery tickets. Okay. And at that time, actually, we weren't even in the New York area. At that time, we were in the Jersey area staying. We were living there in the Jersey area at that point for a little while. And making a long story short, I said, you know something? I'm going to buy a few of those lottery tickets. But still, me being frugal, me, I only bought $5 worth out of that 20 that landed on my shoes. So I said, all right, whatever. So I'm like, those like little scratch off type cards? Okay. Every single one of them, it put out some type of a winner. Some winners were $2, some winners were $5, some winners, every one of them had a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, right? Anyway, so there was still one left. So I said, okay, I have one more to go. Well, I scratch off that ticket and I won $100. Now, just imagine this. $20 out of nowhere flies on my shoe. And with the $20 that flew on my shoe, I won like twos and fives in between. And then at the end of it, $100. I said, I just cannot. Everything I touched that day turned to gold. So then we drove home. Of course, it was still my birthday. And my husband, being a sweetheart that he unfortunately passed away, uh, opened the door, getting back into the unit, and I see all these beautiful rose petals on the floor. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? So the rose petals on the floor, and on the rose petals was like a trail of rose petals. And every few feet there was a card, a birthday card. He had given me like 5 birthday cards. How cute is that? And like there was, like little gifts inside of, the birthday cards. I will never forget that day because I think he knew that I might have been hypersensitive about turning the old age of 40. Back then, 40 was like, oh, 40, you're like an old lady. Give me 40 back. I'll take age 40 back any old day. So the bottom line, of that story is this. If there's ever, a lot of negativity, I mean, I'm not saying you're going to have the exact story. You might have it. Of course, you're going to have a different lucky day story. Take a minute, look back in your life. Was there ever a day that whatever the day was, maybe it was one incident that like really brightened up the whole day. In this case, for me, it was multiple incidents. Couldn't believe it. But if you ever have like a sad period of time, or you turn on that dreaded news and like. By the way, don't spend too much time listening to dreadful news. First of all, it's not going to change it. It's whatever the news is, no matter what year, no matter what. Just walk away from it and just listen to your mind to the bright thoughts. So I says, you know what? I'm going to remember this wonderful day again because, God gave me that special, special day. Every day God gives me is a special day. But that day was an extremely memorable day, to say the least. So I'm going to dredge up that happy memory every once in a while. I thought I'd share it again with the folks, the ones that might have heard this a couple of years back. Who, by the way, amazingly, you're still here with me on this channel. Thank you for your channel loyalty. I really appreciate every single one of you. And for anybody new that hasn't heard it before, go back in the rolodex of memories. Who knows what a rolodex is? If you know what a rolodex is, then you're in my age bracket. For those that never heard of a rolodex, it was, I don't even know if they make them anymore. It was a place where index cards were placed. And it's usually like it looks like sort of like a Ferris wheel. It's like a Ferris wheel of index cards. Hey, that's a good way to define a rolodex. And go back to your Rolodex of old memories that are good. I just thought I'd share this with you guys tonight. In the meantime, this has been Jan from New York City. Thank you so much for revisiting my memory, and I hope it brightened your day as well. And go back to your own sweet memories, and don't hesitate to share them with me in the comment section below. I'll be right back with a wave. Have an amazing, fantastic night. Take good care. Good night.